Well, what's up, Camp Broadside? How y'all doing? I'm your host, Troy Mosby. I want to thank you for tuning in. We got a great episode ahead of us tonight. We got my new friend, Mr. Nate Daniels, joining us tonight. I met Nate in the KC Area Bowhunters page on Facebook, and he posted this picture of a hammer of a buck. So I thought, man, I got to get him on here and hear this story. And matter of fact, it's a 200-inch buck. So I was really excited to get him on here. But we talk about that buck. We talk about some tips and tricks and some men's mental health stuff. Man, it's a good one. So you don't want to miss this. But before we jump off into that, if I could get you to like and subscribe to the channel, please, I'd really do appreciate it, man. It just helps us to grow a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, please help me give a big old Camp Broadside welcome to Mr. Nate Daniels.
Troy's talking about the 10-point miss. Swears it was close, but it don't sound like it. Brandon's grinning, bragging about his dope. Bartlett's spiked, well, we all know it's blood trails and bucktails. Round the fire where the whiskey sails. Every heart's a story, every shot's a chance. What's your story to tell? What's your...
I'm telling you, that shit was the craziest thing I ever seen.
Nate Daniels, what's happening, man?
What's going on, Bubba?
Hey, I'm pretty excited about you being here. I have to be honest, man.
I'm pretty excited about being here. It took
it-
us a minute to get it
Yeah.
done, but here we are.
Anybody that's watching can obviously see why right here. I mean, what a beast that sucker is, man. He's something else. And so I think somebody had tagged you in a post, and you posted a picture of him. And then we kind of started messaging back and forth. And in the meantime, I had 2 or 3 other people hit me up and be like, "Hey, you need to get Nate Daniels on here, man. He's a hunting son of a gun, you know." So here we are, man.
Well, I appreciate you having me out, and I appreciate them guys, throwing me the appreciation for, most of those guys, if not all those guys, have either hunted with me or called me for advice or what have you. You know what I mean? There's a pretty solid group of us that I've got a pretty solid core group of 5 or 6 guys. We all deer hunt. We all talk pretty regular. About every 45 to 60 days, we take off for 4 or 5 days and just go be feral.
Yeah,
Live
dude.
at a campground or live on the island in the river or something, and
Yep.
and then deer season comes along and we kind of all separate a little bit. We still talk, but
kinda doing
everybody's
your own thing.
everybody's on their own lease, everybody's on their own ground, or everybody's scouting this puppy, so
Yep.
that's like the 3-week or a month window out of the year that we may not see each other so much
Yeah.
unless they're coming to Kansas to hunt with me.
Yeah.
And then I see them, when the weather's right or the wind's right. You know what I mean? We,
I bet so.
we do pretty
so.
good when
Yeah.
keeping together when they draw that Kansas tag.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. It's nothing like having that core group of guys, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
the
a lot of guys
dependable
only have
people.
that. They only have that camaraderie for deer camp, So we carry that through the year, whether it's walleye trips or crappie trips or catfish trips on the river.
Yeah.
We always just try to keep that, keep that camaraderie going, and there's always somebody going through something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And guys need guys. Guys' mental health ain't brought up enough, and that's kind of our release from it, and get away from it.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that. I love that stuff, man. Men's mental health and stuff.
It matters. A
It
lot of
does
people think
matter.
it don't. A lot of people don't understand why we spend all them hours in the tree stand or all them hours on the deck of a boat or on the bank of the river or what it be, But
I tell you, I've changed my life more in a tree stand, 20 foot up in a tree, than I have anywhere else in my life.
I agree with that, except for the deck of my boat. I get a lot of quiet time, a lot of things done on the deck of my boat, and
you're
just out in the outdoors. I mean, it kind of humbles you and gives you appreciation for the things you don't see when you're stuck in the grind of daily life.
Yeah, facts. God's amazing, man. Some of the stuff he puts out here is like, wow, dude, this
Yes,
is
sir.
gorgeous. Well, since we're talking about you, bro, why don't we just start back and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into hunting, and tell us who you are, man.
I grew up until about middle elementary school living in Ohio. We lived on the water. Dad was a boat mechanic, so we lived on the water and fished a lot and living on the water. During the winter, there wasn't much to do. Duck hunt and ice fish. That's about it.
Yeah.
And ice skate with the kids and what have you. So I started hunting back then. It was just tag along with Dad. Then we moved back here, and I was lucky enough to be able to see my grandpa on a regular basis. Dad would take me deer hunting, rifle hunting. And then Grandpa and my great uncle, they took me hunting everything. Whether it's it didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
You know,
You
it
was
was
going after it.
here's a 22, here's a 410, here's a 20 gauge. Here's what's in season. Let's go walk the creek.
There
You know
you
what I
go.
mean?
Yeah,
They just
dude.
turned me loose. And then I got old enough to where Dad trusted me to go out in the timber by myself, and he bought me my first bow. He bought me a Browning bow. And I shot about everything with that thing. I was killing crows off of ice with it when deer season was over, and of course deer hunting with it, turkey hunting with it, and I just kind of took a liking to bow hunting more than I did gun hunting.
Yeah.
So ideally that's been my cup of tea since I was probably 13, 14 years old. I really didn't care much about gun deer hunting.
Yeah.
Now I would,
Yeah.
because it was a race to. If you can't get one killed during gun season, before gun season got there, once gun season got there, all the
You was out
neighbors,
there with
the
baby.
neighbors might get it, so it's
right.
all holds barred at that point. If
Yes,
you see
sir.
him, you got to go after it. So of course, I gun hunt,
Yeah.
Now, I was ignorant enough when I was young to get in trouble with the law, so I can't gun hunt. And of course, as far as deer, I wouldn't anyway. I
Yeah.
could still muzzleloader hunt and I've taken 2 deer back to back in a really narrow time window with a muzzleloader. So that's not my cup of tea anymore so much. Just that, and you have a misfire on a cap and ball, and you're like,
Yeah.
that hurts it on a whole new level.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
So I just like to stick to flinging sticks.
Yeah.
And
That's I got into we rifle hunted. It was me and my stepdad, and then I just remember telling him one time, I'm like, dude, why don't we bow hunt? I said, these guys are out. They're starting hunting in September, and
right.
they're hunting like the rest of the year. We're just out here for like a week and a half, and so yeah, that's how it started. I said right then, I said I'm gonna start bow hunting, and then I've been doing it 30 some years, and then I'd say probably the last 15 years has been just bow hunting exclusive. I just prefer it over rifle hunting, man. I guess just being the close encounters and I mean watching them walk in and they're 20 yards and you can see the mist coming out of their nose and whatnot. I mean, it's just
You can hear them lick their nose.
Yeah,
Yep,
dude.
it's a whole different,
Nothing like it.
creature.
Yeah,
Our rifle season, most of what I do with rifle season is take those kids. That's normally when we bring a kid in to start hunting them. The first year we'll go through all the firearm safety with them, have them do a little bit of scouting with us or what have you. But generally speaking, their first year they're going to shoot a doe. We're not after anything with any antlers.
yeah.
And they're not
Just
going
trying to get them on something.
We take pretty, me and a couple guys that help me with this, we take a lot of pride, and we don't take kids to kill deer. We're trying to grow hunters.
Yeah.
So
Nice,
we
dude.
have them go do the scout, and we have them help put the ground blinds in. We try to keep the kids until they're 15 or 16. We try to keep them on the ground. So we do a lot in the ground blinds. We'll tuck them away in cornfields, CRP fields, and about anywhere we can get one that'll be productive, we'll do. But that's what my rifle season is. If my daughter wants to hunt, a lot of times she'll want to go out with a rifle and find the biggest doe she can find and shoot it in the deepest holler she can find, and then laugh and make fun of us while we die
Right.
dragging it out. That's she won't
hilarious.
shoot the babies, and she does not like backpack deer.
That's
I can tell you
right.
that. She's all about shooting the big
She
fatty
wants the
does.
big ones. I like that.
It's got to
man.
have that volleyball knot in the chest,
Yeah,
or she
buddy.
ain't going to send it. No matter how hard you try to
Yeah.
talk her into it, she ain't doing it. She wants them big. And
That's awesome. I love her already. man.
it
That's
never fails. She shoots one in the worst place possible.
Yeah,
too.
dude.
Oh, it's
that.
never
You
fails.
know that's what's going to happen.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
So when
know?
you say you guys, so there's a group of you.
Yep, there's 2 or 3 of us.
Are you
now.
guys like an organization? Or
Nope.
you guys just buddies that do this?
we just run into like one of my son's friends through high school. He was like, I'd like to hunt. I've never hunted. My dad don't know anything about it. He's never. I mean, he went with my grandpa back. So he don't know anything about it. And talk to the parents and say, hey, here's the deal. You buy the tags.
We'll take them out.
We'll take care of everything else.
We'll teach
you
them.
know.
And, yeah, that's awesome.
So we've had pretty good luck with that. And to be honest with you, some of these guys, and it's not always kids. Sometimes it's a guy that don't know nothing about anything, that didn't have a dad to teach him. You know what I mean? I don't
right.
care how old you are.
Yeah.
If you're a novice or you're a rookie, I know more than you. I'm more than happy to spend it.
Yeah.
Share you the information. The cool thing is I got one kid now. His name's Hunter. He's in boot camp right now in Texas. But he started with me when he was like 9 or 10. And one of the best hunts I've ever had.
Who is he to you?
He's just a friend of mine's son.
Okay.
I took him, and now he hunts harder than 95% of the grown men you'll find. He's patient. He holds out for the one he wants. He's highly coachable. That's the good thing about him. You explain to him access one time, he'll call you and say, hey, should I be crossing this ditch or that ditch? Should I go in this time or should I wait an extra hour?
Yeah.
Well, going in before daylight's not always a plan, know. So it's really cool seeing guys like that. I got another buddy of mine that kind of knew what to do. He'd never bow hunted. I think he shot like a 176 last year, after hunting with me for 2 or 3 years. I get more joy out of hearing them call me revved up with them pictures, even like Hunter, when the best hunt I've ever had, we put a spot and stalk on one. The deer watched us get out of the truck from about 500 yards away, and we belly crawled through some of the nastiest damn mud you've ever seen in your life, mosquitoes, through a bean field, over a road, through another bean field, and got him within 100 yards for him to shoot it with a muzzle loader.
Dang.
And that's hands down one of the most exhilarating, heart-pounding, hammering hunts I've ever had. And I would have never had that hunt if I wouldn't have took that kid hunting.
Yeah, dude.
So
what a hunt, man. What a memory.
What's cool is his dad watched over half the stalk from the highway.
Dang.
You could see it, and he was sitting out there, and he told me, he's like, I didn't think there's any way.
I
didn't think there's any way. And then I seen that smoke cloud, and he's like, man, I knew.
Dang, that's so cool. Now that's the type of thing where I'm like, I want to experience that. You know what I mean? That's super cool.
Well, and then again, my brother that you're going to have on here in a week or two, him and his daughter drew 3 or 4 years ago, and we slapped a ground blind in for her, got her a velvet deer, and I got to watch that on top of the levee from about 1,000 yards away through a spot and scope, watch the whole thing play out.
How cool is that, dude?
And it was, pretty cool hearing the screams come from down there, and then calling him, stay in that blind. I don't know, too much smoke. I don't know how good the shot was. So just stay there,
Yeah.
But we were able to get her a velvet deer on her first sit that year, and then coincidentally, my brother he stuck a good one too that year. So it was a good year in Kansas that year.
Oh yeah, nice.
But
now, do you hunt private property in Kansas? Or
both.
You got both. Okay.
I'd say if you take a 10-year block of my hunting time, probably 3 out of those 10 years, I'm probably not going to shoot anything. I'm going to wait out.
Because you're waiting for the one
and
you
then
want.
3 of those years, I'm going to shoot a deer off of public ground.
Yeah.
I mean, we're blessed in Kansas to have good genetics. You got to put the time in. You got to work a lot harder. Generally, if I'm shooting one on public ground, it's early.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's all public ground or private ground,
Yeah.
But on the average, with the leases that I have or the farms that I hunt, I shoot a buck off of one of those places about once every 7 years. Gotcha. 7 to 8 years is what it shakes.
But it's a hammer when you do.
Generally on private ground, it's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've had several people hit me up and be like, Nate's got some stories, man. And I'm like, I've
learned a lot the hard way.
Yeah.
I can tell you what not to do.
Hey, but that's
experience.
The best way to learn, isn't it? And that's the best way to teach, I think.
I mean, it works, and like I tell guys, that for me, shooting this 190 was cool, having 6 years of pictures of him and having dozens of encounters of him at 2.5, 3-year-olds walking right underneath me, and still having that's really cool.
Yeah.
But, and that being said, my thing is I like shooting mature deer. Some years it's a 130, and obviously with some years it's a 200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I pride myself in what really tickles my fancy is shooting mature deer, fooling that nose, fooling the smarts, and patterning something that the average Joe Blow can't just go shoot.
Yeah.
That's the chess game for me.
It takes some skill to do that for sure. And you clearly have it.
I like to at least fake it real good,
Yeah. So that Hunter, you said he's in the service?
Yep.
What's he?
He went in the Air Guard.
Air
He's
Guard.
He's gonna do radar
Nice.
mechanic or what have you.
Yeah.
Pretty
and
excited.
He's in basic right now?
Yep, he's in basic right now.
Thank you, Hunter, man. That's
Good kid.
Love that.
Dang good kid. I'll tell you right now, I'd have never got that thing on a 4-wheeler without him.
Yeah.
He's a big old boy.
Yeah.
And I was very thankful to have him there with me just to see it. You know what I mean? And then I was real thankful to have him and his dad there to get it on the quad, you know, to help me get it on it.
Yeah, I bet. That'd have been some work by yourself.
Oh, it wouldn't have happened.
Wouldn't have
I
happened.
mean, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. How much did he weigh?
I don't know.
No
I
guesses?
if I had to guess before we gutted him, I'd say he was 275 probably. I mean,
He's a hoss.
I can tell you, I got 103 pounds of burger back from him and steaks.
Yeah.
You know, so you do the math on that so it'd probably around 250.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a big
He's
deer.
Do you process your own, or you take it?
That
somewhere?
one I took.
Yeah. Where do you take them?
I take mine to Anderson Meats in Troy, Kansas.
Okay.
They've got a walk-in cooler. They're easy to deal with. So if you shoot it after hours, you can swing in there and drop it.
Nice.
You know, they do all the good stuff, the snack sticks and what have you. But
we used to have that a couple places around here with the drop-in cooler, which was great during early season when it's warm and hot out, because a lot of times I may be hunting today, but I have to work in the morning.
right,
I may shoot a deer tonight. By the time I find it, get it out, you know, it could be 10 o'clock and everybody's closed. Now I got to figure out how I'm gonna keep this deer cool. You know what I mean? And it's
well, I mean, then
such
you
a
look
pain.
at the weather we're having like right now in February. I mean, we were hunting in t-shirts some of them days
Facts.
in November. You know, so you can't let them hang through that. So
No.
it's been pretty nice having them, you know, available to do that.
Yeah.
We've got another place up there in St. Joe, Clark's.
I've heard of Clark's.
They make probably the best summer sausage I've had.
Really?
You know, I mean, they use the high temp cheese so it doesn't come out all gooey and weird.
Yeah.
Their flavors are good. And they're pretty good about if you call them showing up and opening a locker to let you
kidding.
drop off. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, we used to, I take mine to Nadler's, which is
They make some good brats.
Nadler's. Oh, yeah, they make
Their
some
brats
great
are
brats.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That's about all I've had from there. But
Yeah,
their
they make
brats are
some,
delicious.
Breakfast sausage,
Yeah.
venison breakfast sausage.
I've heard
is
it's pretty good. I haven't had
Oh
it,
my
but
goodness, man.
I've eaten my fair share of them brats.
Yeah, them brats are fire too. That I didn't get none of those the last time I took out there, but they're fire, them brats. But I wish me and my oldest son, he's my Broadside Camo business partner, and he got into hunting seriously this year. You know what I mean? Just went all in. And but we were talking about, he's got a nice shop out beside his house, and he's like, and we could build a cool room right in there to where we at least got a place to hang it. You know what I'm saying? And because I used to, a buddy of mine used to live just right down the road. He's moved out of state now, but he had one.
Yeah.
So anytime you shoot one, you just take it over there and hang it in there until you're ready to take it or process it or whatever. And I said, well, that's what we need right there, man.
Yeah, a lot of times during youth season, even with them up there, you still got to get them on ice. You know, you got to cut them up and get them on ice.
Yeah.
And so then we'll just stuff them in a refrigerator, you know, leave them in the cooler overnight with the plug pulled, you know.
Yep.
But when
Keep them cool.
Yep. But when you get into, you know, November and you got a 60-degree day, I mean, hell, you figure most of your coolers are buried. You're not,
Yeah.
you know,
I shot a doe, a big doe, and it was November. And it was like that. It started off really cool in the morning.
Right.
So I just didn't think too much about it. And then when I shot her, by the time I got her in the truck or whatever, and then I'm like, it's warming up, man. I'm gonna have to stop and get some ice on her. You know what I mean? So I did, but you never know when it's gonna turn
It's
up
like our
that.
Giacomo deer this year. We had to. I mean, we left straight from there and went straight to 40 Woods and stuffed in full ice. I mean, we had to.
Yeah.
It was that hot.
So you hunted at Giacomo this year too?
Yeah, me and the brother both. It took us 10 years of applying.
No kidding.
Yeah, but we finally got drawn.
How was it?
A lot different than we expected. You know, of course, we applied for 10 years, you know, so like the first 3 or 4 years, we did a lot of scouting. We did a lot of prep work, you know, and then 2 years after that, it's like, oh, well, we'll go look around. Wasn't really actively scouting, and we just kind of looking. And then 2 years of not even looking at anything because it was like,
You ain't getting drawn.
are we really going to get drawn,
Right.
you know? So then we finally got drawn, got caught with our pants down. It's like, oh, man, now we got to do something.
Yeah.
We didn't have any problem finding deer. Our problem was finding mature deer,
Yeah.
you know, and then dealing with the general public and all that nonsense was something a little different. You know, we'd walk in the hard way. We'd walk the extra mile. And then an hour after sunlight, some dude in a trench coat with carrying a stick, talking about he's on a mission or an adventure or something, not making a lick of sense, just come stumbling through,
Right by you.
or some guy with a backpack coming running right through the middle of the timber with no trails, no nothing,
Just running.
I'm on a survivor run, something like that. And it was just like, you can't, there's no way for you to plan for this,
Yeah. No
And then
way.
for me, it was driving an
And
hour
you never
20.
know what's going to happen.
Oh, no.
I mean,
No, and then driving an hour and 20 minutes down to, combat that stuff, it made for some stressful hunting,
Yeah.
to come down and get in 2 hours before daylight, hear them, know you're in the right spot, and then, 30 minutes after daylight, here comes the general public, e-bike whizzing by, or it was a little different
Yeah.
than,
I got my first decent buck that I shot with a rifle or a bow, period. We'd been bow hunting some public land and seen some good deer, some public land up north, and seen some good deer and whatnot, and didn't have no good and close encounters, but we seen them, and it was like, all right. So rifle season was coming up, and we thought, we already got stands out here,
Right.
Nobody's ever out here.
uh-huh.
Nobody's here. We've never seen nobody here. Yeah, we're just gonna come back here and rifle hunt. All right, that's great. So we showed up at 4:00 in the morning, and then it's a little gravel road, and I just remember we go around this corner, and dude, it looked like an RV parking lot. I mean, there were RVs
The
and
Orange
trucks.
Army come out strong.
I was like, what is this? I hadn't experienced that before. So we was like, it's too late to go somewhere else.
right.
So we said, screw it. We get in there first. So we went and got in our stands and just sat there. I watched everybody come walking in, you know what I mean? I'm
Yep.
like, golly, I can't believe this. Then I watched everybody walk out for lunch. And I was like, I was so disappointed in my hunt that day. I was like, I ain't even getting out of the tree. I don't even care.
Yeah, no, technically that's the right play to make, because when they all come out, you stay.
Yep. Well, and I wasn't being smart like that. I didn't know. I was pretty green, and so
Yep.
I was like, I'm staying. I don't care, whatever. So they went to lunch or whatever they did. Well, I could start hearing voices like they were getting closer, and I thought, well, they're getting ready to come back. And about that time, this buck comes running, and I was shooting a Marlin 30-30, and I just rolled him down this hill. And right after I shot, I heard, "Did you get him?" I was like, "Are you kidding me?" No, I was like, "Yeah, I got him." And it's my first decent buck. I was super stoked,
Right.
This horrible day turned into
Turn around
the
just
biggest
like
day. Yeah, so you just never know when
Yep.
something's gonna happen, Yeah, but so let's. I hope you don't mind me asking. So if you go into a new place, and you're gonna scout this place, and because you're going to hunt it,
Right.
what's the first couple things you look for?
Access, period.
How to get in it without
That's-
disturbing
That's it.
them?
It doesn't matter how good it is if you can't get in and out.
Yeah,
I've given up some really, really good farms because there's no way to get in.
yeah,
I mean, if you don't have a quiet way to get in or an unexposed way to get in, they're going to be gone by the time you're there. And any deer I'm trying to hunt's a mature deer, so you bust him twice going in, there's a good chance he ain't coming back.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the access to get in and out without being undetected, that farm's it's gonna be hard to hunt.
yeah,
I'm not saying it's unhuntable. I'm not
Right.
saying you won't kill one there.
right.
I'm just saying you're already behind the curve.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first things I look for.
Got to have good access.
Yeah,
Got to be able to get in without letting them know you're there.
Yep,
Period.
That's the key. Generally speaking, for me, it's creek beds. That's my number one way of sneaking in, or low low spots. It doesn't have to necessarily be a creek bed. It could be a watershed,
Just a
or
valley type.
just something for me to be able to get down to where my whole body's not exposed.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get away with walking if you pay attention to the way critters walk in the woods, or at least for me, the way I have. You'll notice that there's only one thing that walks consistently and doesn't stop on a regular basis, and that's a predator.
Yeah.
So if you walk like a predator, whether they can see you, smell you, or hear anything, they're gonna
assume
go.
you're a
Yep,
predator.
they're gonna go.
Yeah.
So if you can mosey around like a cow or like a coon or what have you, and stay out of sight, you can. A lot of times, I'll get in a tree stand and see 40, 50 yards away. There's deer bedded. So they let you know you're getting in and out, you know. But a lot of guys that are hunting these field edges, they'll put that tree stand right on the field edge. They'll
Walk
hunt
right
it.
through the middle of the field.
Well, that's fine getting there.
Yeah.
But in the evening, when all them deer are in the field, what do you think you're doing to them deer every time you get out of the tree stand?
Yeah,
You're
and
educating
they're in the
them.
field when you
Yeah,
get
I mean,
out.
they see you climb down the tree, they see you walk out, they know.
Yeah.
So now they're not coming out until 30 minutes after dark. You'll
Yeah.
keep getting pictures of that deer, but he's going to be 200 yards in that thick stuff. He ain't going to know.
Yeah.
You know, so not only do you have access to get in, you got to worry about how you're getting out.
Yeah, truth.
You know, so that's kind of one of the biggest things I've learned that I was hanging myself for years. I mean, I'd show up. For instance, I had a guy call me. He's like, "Man, I was seeing all kinds of deer. I ain't seen nothing." Oh, what time you going in? You know, he's like, "Oh, man, I get off work 3:30. I'll go home and take a shower. I'll get there about 5:15." And I was like, "Well, that's doable during September,
Yeah.
October. That you still a good 3-4 hours."
Yeah.
And I was like, "How often you hunting it?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm hunting every day." You park in the same place every time? Yeah. You walking in the same way every time? Well, I mean, I'll walk this fence line or I'll walk that fence line. Depends which way the wind's blowing. Them deer have him pegged by the time he gets out of the truck.
They know.
You know, they
They
pattern.
probably hear that truck pull up. Me and my sons talked about that. He has a spot that we got permission to hunt, and started going out there, and you'd see a lot of deer. And then after probably just a handful of times of hunting it, the deer were seeing less and less and less. And we talked about,
They pattern you.
hell, when you pull that truck, they're not used to a vehicle out there anyway. They're not used to those vehicles
Right.
pulling up like that at that time of the day or morning, 4 o'clock,
Yep.
5 o'clock in the morning. So they hear that, it gets their attention, and it's loud no matter what.
Right.
And so that sound's traveling. So they're hearing that, and it gets their attention. And like you said, they'll start figuring out, oh, he's here. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And they're gonna be
And they
gone.
go right out the backside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Good.
I agree. I'm not saying I work it as good as I should, but I think you're right. When you say that, access is huge.
I think it's the most underrated thing. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of guys worry about scent control.
Because
They
you don't
worry-
ever hear, I never hear nobody say that. And when you said that, I immediately was like, that's brilliant. I mean,
It doesn't
that's
matter how many
exactly-
200-inch deer are in there if they're not in there when you're in there.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you bump them a couple times, they're like, "Well, I don't like it over here
Yeah.
anymore." You know,
too much bullcrap going
Yep.
on. I'm gonna go
so,
over here.
Yep. So
Man,
that's the biggest thing I look for right off the bat is access.
So
I mean,
you've-
obviously sign.
Yeah.
You
so
know,
you
you're gonna want to make sure they're there.
yeah, you
but-
find you got a place that you've got good access to,
Yep.
to an area you want. Now what do we start looking for?
Bedding areas.
Bedding.
I mean, at least where I generally hunt, you know what I mean? I know where the food source is. So I look for food, water, bedding.
Yep.
Well, what's the biggest primary one that they're really going to be hugging on? It's going to be that primary
Yeah.
or that bedding area.
Yep.
Where they're going to be comfortable. You know,
Yep.
they can go get food anywhere. They can get something to drink. Generally speaking, around in our region, they can get it about anywhere they want.
Yep.
You know, same with crops. They can find corn, they can find clover, they can find alfalfa, they can find whatever they want to eat, acorns, whatever it be. Bedding area somewhere they feel secure. The mature deer, in my opinion, they find a place and they like it, and there's a reason they like it. You know, so
Yeah.
I'll focus on the bedding area, figure out where they're spending the majority of their time, and then I'll figure out where they're going. You know,
Because from there we got to figure out, all right, where's their food source?
Yep.
Because they're going to that, and then they got to have a watering hole somewhere along the line.
But those things, the food source and the watering holes, those change.
Yeah,
Right.
but not the bedding.
The bedding stays the same.
Yeah.
They're always wanting that same safety, the same security, same seclusion, same thermals. I'm learning the last couple of years. I'm starting to learn a lot about the thermals and how the mature deer play them thermals.
Yeah, I don't know. Last year I started talking to the guy that runs the Mobile Hunter Expos,
Yep.
Christopher Leppert. He knows a lot about thermals.
Yep, I've started going down that rabbit hole, and it's
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
I mean, it's compared to where I was looking for deer before to where I look for deer now, or look for those specific bedding areas for the mature deer. It's thermal related.
Yeah.
And when they get up off their feet in the evenings, it's 100% thermal related. I mean,
Now, I was talking to somebody about that, and talking about thermals in our area. They were saying it's not like out some of these other states where you have these big valleys and big
Right.
mountain. How do you think the thermals are in our area? You know
Well,
what I
the
mean, where
way
it's
the
flatter?
way I've experienced it, I in the bottoms, like the river bottoms, it's just like anywhere else. Once the temperature comes up, they switch, they go up. Once the temperature starts going down, they go
Go
down.
back down.
Now, what I found in the hills where you've got a lot of deep creek draws and a lot of different variation of timber and facing slopes, it depends on what's catching sun. It's heat driven.
Where the sun's
So if you're hunting a goalie and you're in that goalie, or that saddle or that bench or whatever it is you're hunting, if it's shaded until noon, your thermal's going to drop to noon. But if it catches sunlight at daylight, your thermals are going to be going the wrong way by a half an hour, 45 minutes in.
yeah.
So I found that in the mornings I like to hunt the shade. In the evenings I like to hunt the sun. Because in the mornings, I'm prepared for it to go down, and generally, I like to hunt, like I said, my access them creek beds. So if I can slide right up out of that creek bed, that's where I'm putting a stand.
Yeah.
Now, that stand might be 25, 30 feet up the tree, but in relation to the ground around it, some of it may be eye level.
Yeah.
Like the stand I shot this one out of, we call it skyscraper stand. It's like 26 foot to the platform. But if you look to the west, the deer will be eye level just like me and you are,
Yeah.
But the access to get to that tree, to the funnel point, that's the tree I had to pick, you know? So, and it works. So with thermals, in the mornings, like I said, they're going to be going down, and then once that sun pops, they're going to change.
Yeah.
And I try to be out of the woods before the thermals change. That
Completely
way
out.
Yep. That or I'll move.
Yeah.
I'll hit that creek bed, and I'll go 40 yards to the other side of the creek. That way I know it's going over a cornfield or a bean field or something. I know where the deer's not,
So how are you checking the thermals when you're out there and whatnot?
You can feel it.
You just feel it?
You can feel the wind change.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell.
Yeah.
A lot of guys use the spray checker, what have you.
Milkweed.
Yeah,
I heard a
something
lot
like
of people
that.
using milkweed and whatnot.
So for me, you can just feel it.
Yeah.
Like you feel the wind in your face, and then you feel it start hitting the back of your neck.
Yeah.
Coming off that tree, and
it's changing.
that's kind of how I gauge it.
Yeah.
And it's a temperature change too. It's got a lot to do with it. So once you notice that it's starting to cool off, your thermals are starting to play games with you.
Yeah.
Now that's not an end all be all for me.
Right.
I'll risk it for the biscuit if I have to.
Yeah,
I try
I know,
not
that's
to,
right.
but I will.
I love it. Risk it for the biscuit.
Like that deer my brother killed, it was,
Yeah.
the wind wasn't perfect, but I told him, I said, if you're going to kill him, tonight's going to be the night. He's
Yeah.
going to be there. So you better be on your game with your scent control. You got about a 20-yard window for him to cross. Once he crosses that 20-yard window, you can smoke a cigarette or something. He wouldn't know,
Yeah.
But that 20-yard window, if he smells
better
you in
be
that, it's
on.
game over.
Yeah.
And he came across that window so fast that there was no smelling him.
Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta squeak the line a little bit.
Yeah.
But I try to hunt smarter, not harder, or
Right.
smarter, not harder.
Well, you don't want to battle against your own self. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Well, and then you run out of ground. If you blow one out of here, you blow one out
Yeah,
of there. Next
now
thing you
where you
know,
gonna hunt?
you're like, I better go back to that public ground and see what those
See
Iowa,
somebody
Wisconsin
comes
guys pushing
running
out
through
there.
with a backpack on or something. That's
Oh
what's
man,
happening, man.
last year I've got a lease that butts up to public ground, and we had guys from Florida riding e-bikes through CRP bedding areas and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's ridiculous.
And you're just like, what are you doing? You don't even know what you're doing.
It was like, man, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing over there? He was like, well, I kind of got lost. And I was like, yeah, well, you shouldn't be. Just bring it over here, put it in my field, and get out. Instead of going through the whole bedding area again, just come over here and get in my field and get out. And of course, he picked a bad day because my brother was there too. And then come to find out, he had a buddy back there with another e-bike, and that's why we didn't see squat that night.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, that ruined that farm for the entire season last year.
Wow.
That was the last time we ever saw. Prior to that, we'd had a couple shooters on camera. We'd at least seen them.
Yep.
And after that night, we didn't see a shooter there the rest of the year.
No
I've
kidding.
still got cameras up there and still
Still
don't have
not
any.
seeing 'em.
No, nothing mature at all.
They're so smart, dude. And like you said, most of the time, I ain't gonna say all the time. Once you blow them out, you know what I mean. They're not coming back. The the giants.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get lucky, I think, but
Yeah.
I believe
I think it's just like humans. You know what I mean? I think to a certain point they get so smart, and then they get to a point where they get complacent, or they get old and they just don't think about it, or they just don't care.
Yeah.
You know, I
they
mean,
take more chances
and
than what
they
they
just-
normally would.
well, I don't feel like running out of here today. We'll see what that noise was, kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know, or you'll see them.
Or it might spark their interest, and they're like, "What the heck was that?"
You'll see one catch wind of you. You
Yeah.
know, and every once in a while you'll have one just walk towards the stand. You're like, what
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah,
It's like, well, man,
I've actually had that happen where
you're really not liking life today, man. You're
Yeah.
you know?
I've had one where I felt like he was coming. He was just on a line right to me. No, I just felt like he knew I was there, and I was trying to stay hidden. You know what I
Right.
mean? And he still came. And he knew I was there.
Now
He
them
was just
young
curious.
bucks, them's curious deer.
Yeah.
You know, you could meow with those and all kinds of stuff, and they'll come over there looking.
Yeah. What about them big mature nanny deer, man? Them
Man, if
suckers
she-
are some smart son of a guns,
If
dude.
she blows, she's got to go.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes they just be blowing. They don't even know what they're blowing about.
And that's I would 100% agree with that. I hunted a stand on that lease that butts up to public, right? I hunted it, and I was sitting there, and this fella had a stand, and it was probably 90 yards away. And I watched every doe that came out in that field look at that stand and just start blowing like hell.
Yeah.
And there wasn't nobody in it. Hadn't been anybody in it for over a week. But he had got caught enough that every one of those deer, every one of the older deer, you know, the yearlings and the fawns, they didn't. But every mature doe that came out, they stopped, they went downwind of it, and they blew
at
and
it.
blew and blew. I ended up moving the tree stand because of it.
Yeah.
I moved the complete opposite side of the farm. It was like, well, anything mature is probably not going to sit over there and listen to one deer.
Well, if you put it on the opposite side of the farm, maybe that'll push those deer over to your
right,
side of the
you
farm.
know,
There you go.
it was one of those. Yeah, some deer will deal with it, but the deer I'm after here, he's probably not going to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, so I just moved.
Well, I had this doe, and I still haven't shot it yet. And I'm gonna stick her, but she'll come through. I'll be downwind of her. She can't see me. She's not looking at me. I mean, and she'll just come through the woods blowing, and she'll jump around and blowing, and she's not even. I'm like, what are you doing? You're just blowing. You don't
I've
even know why
noticed-
you're blowing.
I've noticed a few deer like that, and generally they're yearlings, you know, young ones, and a lot of times they just don't care about it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and if they're
Well,
out there acting,
she's pretty good. I bet she's at least 3. She's
No kidding.
mature. Yeah.
my daughter had one blow on her this year. She didn't get to kill, so that one's earmarked. She's got
That's
to
the way
go.
I am with her. I'm like,
First trip out tomorrow. You know, she's gonna take care of that thing. I'm
Yeah.
sure of it.
that's what I decided. I'm like, she got to go. I don't know what she's blowing at. If she just senses that I'm in the woods, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Something
Caught a
something.
whiff of something somewhere.
Yeah, dude.
And
It's,
it could be she blowing on a coyote.
Yeah,
Not you know.
and that's
I
what
mean,
I've had
you
to tell
never
myself. Is
know.
I don't know what but she's making sure everybody knows she's worried
No,
about something. You
yep.
know what I'm saying? So, but once we talk about
You wanna
this
talk about him?
monster, man, good Lord, look at the mass and just everything about it, dude, is enormous.
Well, unfortunately, the only unfortunate thing about this scenario is I missed him last year in the 2024 season.
You
And,
took a shot at him.
Oh yeah, missed him, and
So
I
how many
think
years
that-
have you
I've got
known of him?
I've got at least I know for sure guaranteed verifiable 5 years of pictures of
5
it.
years.
But prior to 5 years ago, I didn't have cell cams. So I got to go through all those memory cards.
Oh, that's
you
what-
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So but through it all, he had this point here that made him that he's always had some palmation there on that right side.
Yeah. I
So
love
he
that
had that
palmation,
little
man.
kicker. So that made him easily identifiable, you know, through the years of the pictures. So I know for a fact I've got 5 years of pictures of him
Yeah.
for sure.
How big's the farm that he come
40
off of?
acres.
40 acres.
Yeah.
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 So you started seeing him. How long have you actually hunted him?
2 years.
2
I hunted
years.
him all last year until I got that shot at him, missed him, and I
What
waited.
happened with the miss?
He come in, he didn't read the script. Wind changed
Never
on me,
do.
and instead of making the decision to pull out like I should have, you know, that's kind of why I try to be out of the timber by the time the thermals change. unless I'm prepared for it, you know, or set up for it. But generally speaking, I try to get out, and that's why.
Yeah.
The thermals changed on me, started rolling the other way, and he came out on the wrong trail. Dead downwind of me, and I mean dead downwind of me. I got all amped up, misranged him, shot right underneath him.
Yeah.
He ran about 10 yards back in the timber, stood there staring at me, blew. I sent another one. Missed him.
How far was he then?
The first one, I thought he was at 48. He was at 38.
Gotcha.
Or vice versa. I thought he was at 38. He was at 48.
48.
The second time, I thought he was about 65. I didn't range that one. I just sent it, you
Yeah.
know, and I sent it for 75.
Yeah.
So it went smooth way over his back.
And then he was gone.
And I was like, well, there's only 3 accesses into this, you know, 3 common trails coming into this property. I'm going to go buy another 2 cameras. So I did. Put them up. Waited 2 weeks and never came back. Neighbor says, oh, yeah, he's over here. You know?
You're like, no.
He's like, I
What?
seen him. And I was like, if any neighbor's going to shoot him, I want it to be that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't ask for a better dude to deer hunt next to.
There you go, yeah.
He's growing big ones. He hunts smart. Great guy. Great guy. If I thought it wouldn't pinpoint where my farm was, I'd give him a shout out right
Yeah.
now. But he is an
That's
awesome guy. And he was happy for me killing it. You know, he could have been upset and salty, but he wasn't. He's always been real cool about getting me access. When I missed him, we had a big rush of east wind. And I was like, I don't have a stand for east wind. He's coming out on the west property line, you know, like right there. So I called him and I was like, hey, man, there's this tree that's on the other side of the fence. Like, can I get that tree? And he's like, man, you know, I just leased the place and she don't want nobody else on it. And I was like, I understand, but I had to ask. And he was like, which way you gonna be facing? And I was like, dude, that tree I want in, I won't be able to shoot behind me. You know, it's big enough. I will not be able to shoot. I'm not shooting on your lease. I just need to be on the right side of this wind. He messaged me back and he's like, I talked to her. She said, okay. And I was like, holy crap.
Go,
you know,
man.
like it's this east wind. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, well, I got another farm that I wait all year for the east wind. That's the only way you can hunt the good spot, you know? So it was a little weird not going there and trying to get in here, but he never came back.
Mm-hmm.
I waited 2 weeks. Rifle season was 3 days away. I went to another lease and killed a mature deer. Had him on camera, had him patterned pretty good, you know? So I went ahead and poked him out, and then I was like, well, gun season, he's gone. You know, I mean, it's curtains. I'm not ever going to see that deer again.
Yeah.
Kind of waited, didn't hear anything from anybody that was like, oh, yeah. You know, there was a couple 200 shot last year. Heard about them, seen the pictures, and every time I'm just like, oh, God, please don't be him. You know, just like, oh, please.
Yeah.
One of them looked real close, and I was like, no way. And then the neighbor's
That'll
like,
starve your heart.
and then the neighbor's like, no, he's still here. And I was like, oh, my man.
Yes.
You know, like most neighbors wouldn't tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Facts.
so this year, it was like I hadn't seen him, you know, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was disgusted about missing him last year, you know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of discouraged. Then we got drawn for Jacomo, and I was like, oh, yeah, Jacomo. Let's get all, you know. So we started hunting hard early. I mean, opening day there. I mean, hot, sweating,
Yep.
you know.
Me and my son were out in it opening day.
Yep.
Well,
It was
my oldest
miserable,
son, and then even my middle son, I think he got in a couple hunts in the early season. It was just hot.
Oh, it's terrible.
Man.
It was terrible. So we started hunting hard, and then I was like, man, I probably realized, you know, my brother, he also drew Kansas. So, like, we double dipped. It'd been a lot better if we'd have just put in for Jacomo and waited, but you can't do that. You know, you're never going to expect to get both of them in the same
Right.
year. You know,
Yeah.
well, luck's going to have it. That's how life's going to do you. It's going to be like, well, you don't have time to do 2. Here's 2.
Yes.
You know? So I started saying, well, I got to start spending some time at home. You spent a lot of money on that Kansas tag. Let's start focusing on that a little bit. Well,
Because you actually live in Kansas,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I live right across the river from San Joe. Well, he lives down here,
Yeah.
and he's like, well, man, I'll go do the scouting on Jacomo, and start hunting Jacomo if you want to start doing the work in Kansas. And I was like, time to get cameras out. So I put cameras out, waited 3 or 4 days, and messaged the neighbor and was like, hey, I just put cameras out. I was wondering if you have any out. And he's like, I got a couple out. And I was like, oh, you guys, what's up? You know, and he was like, oh, he's here. And I was like, oh, shit, he's here. Like, he knows who I'm asking about. And he's
Yeah.
like, he's here. And I was like, man, You don't have to, but it'd be really cool if you could send me a picture. I'm just curious if he lost any, if he gained any, what he looks like this year, you know. He shot me a video, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's him. Well, there goes this deer season, you know. And
Yeah, you're done now. You're focused.
So I put a camera up on the trail. It catches both primary trails, you know. Well, there's a tree in the creek bed that I have him on video hitting a scrape every year. Between the last week October, first week November, every year for 5 years he showed up. You know, that's where I had the pictures of him from all along. And I was like, man, I think if I'm going to kill him, it's probably going to be going to that tree. He hasn't come in on the upper ridge. If he had, I'd have a picture of him. So I got my climber out, and I got it all ready, and I walked the long way in, walked the whole creek bed, come up out of the creek bed, set the climber down, and was like, man, if I sit in this tree down here and he comes out on that trail I missed him on last year, I'll never have a shot at him. And I just kept looking at that skyscraper stand and was like, man, wonder if the lifeline's good on that thing. You know, I didn't change it. I wonder if So I went over, gave her a couple good tugs, and it's in a big oak tree, you know, and I had a couple extra ratchet straps with me, and man, if I'm going to kill him, it's going to be out of that tree today. I think it was Halloween, and it was like the wind's pretty good for there, but the thermals are going to be perfect. So if the wind dies down and the thermals kick, I'm going to be sold, you know. So I threw the climber down in the creek and snuck up the hill and got pinned down halfway up there by a doe. Had to lay in a thorn pile for about 20 minutes, wait for her to leave, and then slid in. And I got in and seen a couple small deer. Well, I heard them first, and then seen a couple small deer sparring. That brought one up the creek bed, and I was like, wow,
yeah.
And we'll get the old black rack out and slap her around a little bit, you know. So I slapped her around. Another one come up out of the creek, and I was like, man, today might be a good day. Well, that one come up, and it's the tree I have this on is between the creek and an old logging road, and they come right up the logging road and went right underneath my tree stand and went right up in front of me over the hill. You know, one of them kind of stayed there a little bit, and so I couldn't rattle. The last thing I want is him, you know, blowing up, throwing a big fit and then going the wrong way. Yeah, you know, so. Kind of sat there for
what month? What
this Halloween?
This Halloween,
straight up Halloween, yeah. Halloween. And never killed a deer on Halloween. I've always hunted Halloween, you know, because you hear them rumors. Yeah. But I never killed one on Halloween.
I don't think I have either. But I if I can hunt on Halloween, I'm gonna be out hunting.
I'll never miss Halloween again. I can tell you that. You know what I mean? Magical things happen.
I might not ever miss Halloween again.
So once they went through, I knew I couldn't rattle. You know, so I've got a doe bleat call they don't make anymore that I've had really, really good success with. So I tried that. Of course, that brought the buck that was over the hill that you could kind of see and brought him to where you could see him.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, excuse me. Wasn't too long after that, I started hearing something behind me down the creek bed just raising. I mean, it was raising Cain. It was tearing something up.
Yeah.
And so I let out a grunt, kind of stopped a little bit, went back to tearing the tree up. Yeah, man, grunted again.
What grunt tube you use?
Excuse me. I'm trying to think. I've got two. I run a Primo's Buck Roar, the original, not the new one, the original one that's got the snort wheeze tube on it. That's why I've got it. It's that snort wheeze.
See, tube. I have that one, and I've told several people. I've got a Hattie Boy, I think it's called. It's like $100 grunt tube. Yeah. I've got several grunt tubes, but I always go back to that Primo's.
In my opinion, out of all of them I've tried, and I've had about every one of them out there, I would say that original. I don't know what they changed between the uproar.
That's what mine is. Mine's
and the uproar
original
too.
as well.
The original was the real deal.
Yeah. And it's got the snort wheeze.
Yep. Yeah, there's not very many of them left on eBay because I went out and bought about every Primo's Buck Roar original that I could find.
Yeah, I have to show it to you. Make sure we talking about the same one.
But we are.
I'm pretty sure we are.
But it just got a little bit different tone to it. It seems to do a little bit better. And then I've got an old H&S strut grunt tube.
Okay,
with the old flexible. I mean, it's like right out of 1992.
Yep.
And close range, that Buck Roar, it's really light. You know, it's good for long distances.
Yeah. And
in short bursts, you know, but that H&S, I can have one at 60 yards in grunt and still, you know, it's quiet enough that they can't pinpoint me.
Yeah.
In short little, little bap, 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 you know,
Yep.
something like that. They can't pinpoint me. So it works real good. But that Primos, you do that, and you know,
Yeah.
they're like, it's right there.
Right there.
You know, so
That's
I
kind of what I said about that Hattie boy. I mean, the sound is amazing. It's more of a like a clicking
yeah,
almost, and I think it's great for close range.
yeah.
But like you said, that buck roar, that's
Yep. So I keep 2 of them, you know.
yeah.
Well, he started raising enough cane down there, hitting that tree that I was like, I don't know if he's gonna hear, if he's hearing me grunt, you know, like maybe he's just stopping. So I threw out a snort wheeze. I found out
heard
then it is a real deal. I've had a lot of deer. I think snort wheeze is probably the second most underutilized call out there. Doe bleat being number 1.
You think it's underutilized? The doe bleat?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Because the number of deer I've brought in and killed with it.
Just with the bleat.
Period. In short range. You know,
Yep.
when they're close,
Yep.
when every other call will blow you out, that bleat will get them to close that extra 10
Yep.
yards.
Yep.
You know.
That one right there, I seen him coming, and he was going from one wood line to that. I thought he was going to come right down to where I was, basically.
Right.
But he ended up crossing the path and going into the timber. And I was like, no, why are you doing that? And so I grunted, and he stopped. And he took a couple more steps, and I grunted again, and he stopped. And then he started walking again. I'm like, well, that ain't working.
Yep.
He's getting further away. So I grabbed my doe bleat, and I hit it one time, and as soon as he heard it, it was a beeline straight
Yep.
to me. I was like, dang, he came
Yeah.
right in, dude.
You know, I've got that little mossback. It's made by a company called Mossback. I don't remember what the name of the bleat call is, but once I found it, I bought every one of them. They quit making it, so I got on eBay and bought every one of them. I'm down to 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm going to do when I run out of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can take a Primos can, right? Cover the bottom of it, tape it to a string, drop that to the ground.
Yep.
If you're hunting out of the tree, drop it to the ground. Then you can roll it, and they hear the sound, but you're not getting pinpointed. They'll pinpoint the base of your tree,
Yeah.
but they won't pinpoint
Tell
you in
you.
the tree stand.
Facts.
You know, so
Yeah.
so
That's a good idea.
they'll circle it. You know, so I think that the doe bleat is the most underutilized call out
Now,
there.
do you do that a lot? What you were just talking about, hanging it down from the tree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't have my moss back, you can best believe I've got a trout line worth of line and a can going to the ground.
No kidding.
Yeah, I carry it in the pack.
I may have to think about that.
It
You don't
just
mind if I take some of your tips?
no, take
I'm
them
going
all.
to take a lot of them. That's why I'm recording this.
The
so,
more people can kill deer, the better off we
Yeah.
are. I mean,
So-
if we can kill enough, maybe conservation will quit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
facts.
I'm just saying.
because they're doing a heck of a job of
Man,
killing
they're
them,
getting
man.
after it.
So when you rattle, you mentioned you had the black rack.
Yeah,
Now, have you ever done where you put like 3 or 4 antlers?
I've
On the
tried it
road?
all. To black rack's just a matter of convenience.
Yeah.
you know. And to be
Well-
honest with you, I don't think the black rack does any better than that Night and Hail game pack, that little plastic thing with the little knuckles on it.
Yeah,
I've
I had
rattled
that
in.
too.
I've rattled in a slew of deer with that thing. Now, as far as making scraping sounds and what have you to try to bring one in that's not looking to fight, just looking to see who's there, I really like that black rack.
Yeah.
you know, because you can
scrape it on the
you
tree.
can scrape it on the tree. You can, and they're durable.
Yeah.
I've had the old Primos ones that were brown. You can see them things moving from 10 miles away. They break. They don't sound, realistic. And I've had pretty good luck with the black rack. I've
Nice.
beat mine up pretty bad. You know.
What about the bags? You ever use those?
I have. I don't think it's.
I don't. I have a set, and I've had it for years.
Oh,
It was
I've
probably
got
like
a bunch of them.
One of the first ones I ever bought, but I don't ever use it because I just don't. I
I-
don't think
from-
it has quite the sound.
For me, with like the rattling horns, you can control how much of it you hold to get the tone you want, and with the bag, I think it's kind of you're limited on what you can do with it. You can't scrape with it. You can't get a good tight rattle with it. You can't, I mean, as far as sparring sounds early in the year, yeah, I like them,
Yeah.
but when it gets time for them to be locking up and really fighting, I think you got to have that deep bone sound
Yeah.
to really imitate
agree.
it to fool them,
2 years ago, I didn't use it this last year, but 2 years ago I tied 3 really nice
Yeah.
antlers together on a rope and left it at the bottom of the tree and went up, and then but I was always afraid that if I didn't see the deer coming in and I start doing that and he sees that, he's gonna be like, what the heck is that? I'm out of here.
I'm
You know what
I'm
I
a
mean?
huge rattling fan.
Yeah.
Huge rattling, like the Giacomo. We got down to the last 2 days.
So how often do you rattle?
It just depends. It depends on the setup and how far it could see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they can sneak in there on you once an hour, once every 45 minutes maybe, because they don't all come rushing in. A lot of times they'll circle all the way around downwind of you, and they'll be 70, 80 yards. So if you rattle again too soon, you're never going to see that deer.
Yeah.
Or you'll see him taking off.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends. Now, if I can see a long ways, or I've got a pretty good hammer on how they're coming, I'll rattle, every 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It just depends on the setup. Like Tacoma, I told my brother that second to last day, I was like, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put a stand in this tree. I'm going to find a tree to get in. I'm going to rattle and I'm going to kill the first thing that shows up. That's exactly what I did. 30 minutes later, I was like, I'm done.
Nice.
He's like, are you serious? And I was like, I told you. First thing, I was going to rattle, and the first thing that was over 2.5 showed up getting it. So I shot a 3.5-year-old.
Yeah.
Not proud of it, but it's a management
it's
tag,
down.
and it's done.
That's
so,
right.
And average my deer, I still did pretty good if you put them together in the average,
Yeah.
But
So back to this sucker.
Snort wheezed him, and he snort wheezed back, and I didn't know it was him, but I knew it was a mature deer.
So you couldn't see him.
Nope. He was down off in the creek, and from the time he snort wheezed back, he hit the tree again, and I let out a little grunt. Of course, looking back and thinking about it now, I think what I heard wasn't him hitting the tree. It was him turning his head, leaving the tree, and it catching the half of the tree. I just heard antler hit tree.
Yeah.
And then nothing, and little bit, and then I got up there, and I was like, "Oh, something's coming!"
Something's coming.
Looked around the tree, and it was him. And he was about 30 yards away, directly behind the tree, coming right down that logging road, just like the other 3 young deer had come. I knew where he was going.
So he's coming right to you.
So I got up, got set up, got ready, and as soon as I watched him go under, the rack went by, the shoulders went by, and I sent it. 12-6'd him right in the back, spined him. He let out the loudest death roar I've ever heard in my life. I didn't even know deer could grunt that loud. I mean, it was ridiculous.
I bet it was wicked.
He went down. He tried to get back up, so I racked another one and gave it to him as fast as I could, right in the side. He kicked it, broke it. Then I heard the gurgling, and I was like, it's all good. Then everybody in the county heard me celebrating. Because he's laying dead right there.
I might have heard you.
I don't have to be quiet. He's laying there. He ain't past and go. He ain't collecting $200.
You're
He's
looking
dead,
at him.
So he was still alive when I got out of the stand. He was expiring. And, of course, my phone was dead. Couldn't call nobody. So I got my phone to turn on, tried calling my brother, and my phone went dead. Well, he was hunting Como.
Okay.
Dude, it was like 6:30. Don't get dark till like 7:38.
Yeah.
He knew. It's like there's only one reason he's calling me.
Yeah.
So I, fast as I can, haul it to the truck, get to the truck, get my phone turned on, call him, tell him it happened, call my buddy, tell him it happened, call my dad, tell him it happened, call my wife, tell her it happened, and then the game to, well, shit, we got to get him out of here. I don't want the coyotes to get him.
Right.
So I had to take off, went and got a quad, got the trailer, was leaving there, got pulled over. And I was
like, look, I just got to get the steer.
We're blessed. Live in small town USA where I live. You know what I mean? I was like, Tom, can I get out and talk to you? And he was like, yeah. What are you doing? You ain't got no trailer lights. I was like, my buddy's got the pigtail, and I don't care. Yeah. Like, I'm on my way to get him. I just shot the biggest deer in my life. The coyotes are gonna get him, And he's like, well, you got a picture of the deer? And I was like, yeah. So I swiped it real quick, and he was like, oh yeah, you better go get that one.
Yeah.
You better have trailer lights when you come back. So off I went, got my buddy, and went to pick my buddy up, and he was like, man, Hunter's off work. He's on the way home. He wants to go.
Okay, this is
and I was like,
guy that's in the military now.
Hunter's like 6 foot. At that time, Hunter's like 6 foot, 6'1", 250.
Yeah.
And it's like, I need that kid.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll wait on him.
Yeah, no problem. He's not going nowhere.
20 minutes, that's fine. I'm chewing on the steering wheel, dying to go. But we're going to wait on him.
I want him here for sure.
And to be honest with you, it was cool having him there with me, with all the hunting we've been through and the cool hunts. And it's kind of sentimental to have him and his dad there. His dad, real good friend of mine, done a lot of hunting with him. We've got some crazy hunting stories. I mean, we've had deer stick their heads in the ground blind with us. Actually, I think the brother or sibling to this deer is hanging on his wall.
No kidding.
Yeah, he shot it off the same farm the 3 years before then. His boy had shot a couple does off that farm. So it was pretty. It was nice to have him. You know, it'd been cool if my dad was still physically able to make the walk to get out there to go. It'd been real cool to have him there. Or, you know, my brother, if he'd have been there.
Yeah. Was your dad a hunter?
Oh yeah, he's still alive.
Still.
He just can't get out and
Gotcha,
around. You know,
yeah.
he can't make those trips. We're still fortunate enough to get him out fishing every once in a while.
Nice.
But I did get some good pictures of me, my dad, and my deer, and you know, of course, my dad reaches over, and grabs his tongue, and yeah, you know,
Yeah. You'll have to
so-
send me some of those pictures if you
Yeah,
don't mind.
yeah,
I'll include
yep.
them in the video. And
Yep. So we've but Dad was just always a rifle hunter, you know, and then he did bow hunt back in, you know, the cam day, you know, the early cam days.
yeah.
But I think for him it was just to get the hell out of the house.
Yeah.
You know, just like a lot of guys, they don't really care if they shoot anything. They just want to go sit out there, and
Yeah.
I think that's what bow hunting was for him. But he always supported me hunting. You know, whether it was killing ducks or squirrels or frogs, or you know, he always supported me being in the outdoors. My mom too. It's just kind of one of those things. Like most kids wake up on Christmas morning and they're excited about the presents. Prior to being 20, I don't think between 10 and 20 years old, I don't think I was home on Christmas morning. Not a
was out
single
hunting.
one. Same thing with Thanksgiving. Same,
Yeah.
you know, any of them holidays, I was out hunting.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always had a family that supports it. You know, and so even today, my kids, I got a 17 and a 19-year-old, and they'll tell you Christmas morning, Dad may not be there.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not early risers chomping at the bit, 'cause they're probably gonna have to wait for me to come
Right.
home. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm fortunate enough that my daughter, you know,
She-
sometimes she ain't home on Christmas
Yeah,
morning.
that's
you know,
right.
it depends on the weather. She's
Yeah.
she's kind of fair weather on me a little bit right now,
But yeah, that's super cool, man.
but as far as family and the support, I couldn't have it any better. I
Yeah.
mean, being a fishing guide, being gone, and prior to being a fishing guide, before it was any income for me, I ran a lot of free trips. You
Yeah.
know, a lot of free trips just to make sure I could do the job.
Yeah.
And my wife's always been patient with that. She's never given me any grief about, you know, I told you about our feral trips.
Yep.
She supports that. As far as a support system and family,
You got it.
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very blessed.
Yeah, and that's awesome, dude. That I say that about my wife all the time. I've taken her on some crazy adventures since we've been together, from motorcycle clubs to camo business to everything in my life has revolved around hunting. Matter of fact, I told her today. I called her and I said, "Hey, I don't know if I say it enough, man, but I just want to tell you thank you, because you sure have made my life blessed. You made it easy for me to do this camo business, to do the podcast, to hunt whenever I want. You know what I mean?" I said, a lot of guys don't get that. man.
There are very few guys get that.
I
my
hear
man.
people, I'll be honest, I've heard people say, "Oh yeah, that, you know, if you're gonna do this, if you want to hunt or do this, you better do this for your wife, or you
Yeah.
better." And ain't nothing wrong with doing.
Right.
I'm not saying nothing like that,
Right.
but I'm just like, I hunt, man. I'm going hunting. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying? I'm sorry, I'm not to upset anybody, or
Yeah.
if anybody
Yeah,
that
no,
knows me, they know. September to January for sure, I'm out. You know what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
Unless it's super important.
Right.
And then I
Don't-
might reluctantly
no,
go.
Don't make mistakes. When Mama says I got to be
Yes.
somewhere, I'm somewhere.
That's
you know,
right.
but it's very, very few and
Yeah.
far in between.
And I'm gonna do for her, because she's letting me do whatever I
Right.
want. So if that's important to her, then I will be there.
But she's also the kind that's like, why aren't you fishing today?
Yeah.
You know, she never forces herself on it. But anytime I ask her, she goes.
Yeah.
And anytime she asks to go, I'll take her.
Yep.
But she never tries to impose. She never tries to push in. She knows it's my thing. It can be our thing, but she knows it's my thing.
Yeah.
And she, you know, kind of like I touched base earlier, men's
Yep.
mental health is real.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to talk about it. A lot of people make it weird.
Yeah.
But I think if a lot of people understood it the way my wife does, what it does for us, I think a lot of guys would probably be out there a lot more without any repercussions, you know. So as far as any of that goes, I'm very blessed to have the support system and the people around me that I do.
That's awesome,
That
man.
that share the passion for it, but also respect the boundaries, you know, and I'm
for sure.
super fortunate to have a solid group of guys that, you know, that are pretty much the same as me, you know. I mean, honest and hardworking, sincere, you know,
Just good people, just
good
a
friends,
good person.
you know,
what I mean?
the people you want to surround yourself with, and we share the same passions. I would say, I think total there's like 7 or 8 of us in that group, and 6 of us all hunt, all trap, all fish.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's so our seasons are all the same.
Yeah.
You know, one guy, 2 guys are big on the duck hunting thing.
Yeah.
Well, coincidentally, one of those duck hunters, he crossed over into deer hunting this year and killed a dandy.
Nice.
You know, you might want to have him on.
Yeah, you might have to give me some information.
But he's a good trapper too. He's a really good
Now,
trapper.
see, that's something I want to get into, man. I
he's the
love
guy.
seeing that.
He's your guy for that.
We're gonna have to get him on here.
He's a district representative for Missouri Trapping Association now.
Nice.
So he's the younger bud that's stepping up, helping do a lot of things. Super great guy, super nice guy. He's gone guiding. He's up in Tarkio right now guiding for snow goose. So he does a lot of that, enjoys it. But we leaned on him enough this year that he was like, I'll probably do a little deer hunting. And sure enough, he stuck a stud. You know, he got a good one. So we're kind of slowly but surely corrupting the whole group. The ones that don't bow hunt, we're leaning on. They're starting to bow hunt, or you know. So
I don't know, but this sounds like a pretty good group. You know what I'm saying?
I'd be.
You do have my phone number.
I might be a little biased, but I can tell you it's the best damn group of guys I've ever known.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, that's a great feeling, man.
And we all stay in touch. You know.
Yeah.
And when something uncomfortable needs said, there's always somebody in the group to say it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So. But we all get along, you know, very well like that, and I think we're all blessed to have each other. And
you can't beat it.
No. So
I'm glad you brought up that men's mental health. Are you familiar with the Facebook group, the Saddle Cartel? You don't saddle hunt, so
No.
Well, there's a group called the Saddle Cartel, and it's just a bunch of saddle hunters, bow hunters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's rifle hunters and whatnot, but June they do Men's Mental Health Month.
Yeah.
And they get all kinds of prizes and stuff for like just shooting like today's deal might be shoot a 32-yard quarter size target or something, whatever it may be. But and you can win some killer prizes and stuff.
Right
They got
on.
some cool stuff. But it's all for men's mental health. They got a group that they donate the money to. And
right on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool, man. And it was one of the first groups I seen like that actually promoted men's mental health.
Yeah, I think the more people talk about it, the more exposure it gets to it, the more guys find out that, you know, we're not all alone, you know.
No.
And you figure that, you know, a lot of your best friends or the guys you work with, they're going through a lot of the same stuff you are. Nobody wants to talk about it. You know?
We had a group. We haven't done it in a while quite a while actually, but we were doing it pretty much on the regular for a while. But there was like 4 or 5 of us, and we'd meet once a week. There was a place down the street, just a bar.
Right.
Had a great steak, so we'd meet once a week. We'd eat steak, and we'd talk, man.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'd talk about stuff that you'd be like, "Wow, you said that." You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it was like it was our time, and I was like, as men, we need each other. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We carry a lot of weight on our shoulders that the
Absolutely.
world don't see. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That the family don't see, that your kids don't see, that nobody sees. And sometimes you got to have that release and that break.
Absolutely.
Man.
I couldn't agree more. And like I said, that's one of the things I'm most thankful for is the group of guys that I have. You know, I mean, they've become like family. I mean, and I can tell you 2 of them are my brothers, period.
Yeah.
I'll burn at the stake with them if I got to, you know.
Yeah.
The other ones, it'd be pretty hard for me not to burn at the stake,
Yeah.
you know. And of course, everybody in the group, there'd be 2 or 3 that are closer with the other 2 or 3.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we can all trust each other. We've all got each other's back, and we'll all answer the phone no matter what time it is,
Yeah.
you know.
That's awesome.
So,
dude.
and we're all comfortable enough that we know that we can say something in confidence to the group today, and we're not going to be jabbed in the back with it tomorrow either.
Facts.
You know,
That's very important.
That's the biggest thing is we know that it's not going to be leveraged later.
And you know what's really sad is we sit here and talk, because I have some guys like that, and you have some guys like that. But there's some guys out there that just
Don't
don't
have none
have
of 'em.
that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what do they even do? You know what I mean? Because I don't know what I would do what I would do without some of the buddies
Right.
that I have.
Yeah.
I would be like it'd be not good situation
Yeah.
because sometimes you just got to talk to people. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And so I do think about it, especially when this conversation comes up, and I'm like, man, what do these guys do? You know, and they just bottle it up or something.
Yeah.
They don't have nobody to talk to.
Well,
you
I mean,
know?
that's where addiction comes in. That's where,
Yeah.
self-sabotage comes in. That's where self-harm comes in. And to be honest with you, I think what put it on my radar is being around so many first responders and veterans.
Yeah.
I've got a few friends that are veterans.
I'm a vet.
I appreciate your service.
Thank you, man.
Just like
Appreciate
everybody else out there.
Yeah.
I was a skydive instructor for quite a while, 6 or 7 years. And I met a lot of military people that were cycling through Leavenworth for when you become a major in the Army, you got to take a course over there. I'm pretty sure it's a major. So I met a lot of those folks, and you hear a lot of things sitting around the campfire drinking, and then being a first responder, an EMT, and firefighter, you run calls, and you're like, man, that one kind of hit me different. And
Yeah.
then the next day, you see the guy that run the call with you, and he's like, man, I think I might. I don't know if I can keep running medic calls. I think I'll keep doing fire calls, but I don't think I can do medic calls. And I said, well, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
But you knew he wasn't fine.
Maybe not. Maybe. When's the last time you went fishing? Slide them on the deck of the boat. You'd be surprised what comes out on the deck of the boat. I mean, guys,
I can imagine.
just
dude.
I got a buddy of mine that I hadn't talked to in probably 6 or 7 years. Randomly hit me up and just like, hey, about this deer. He was like, hey man, do you think I got a lot going on in life right now, and I want to get back to myself and start doing some drawing. He does some charcoal drawing. He was like, do you care if I draw some of them pictures of your deer? And I was like, no, not at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you okay? And he was like, yeah, going through another divorce. Things are kind of rough. And I was like, all right. And we kind of talked a little bit, and we quit talking. About 20 minutes later, I was like, so what you got going on Saturday? He was like, and it may have been a Friday or a Thursday or something. I was like, what you got going on this day? I could use a little bit of help. He's like, well, I don't think I got anything going on. And I was like, so you got like 4 or 5 hours to help me? And he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, so no excuses. Like, you can help me. And he's like, well, yeah, what do you need? I was like, I'm going to need help pulling them fish out of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? And I was like, we're just going to go fishing, man. If life's kicking you in the ass, son, you need to get out. Like, you've been fighting PTSD since Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And now another relationship's going, and let's go fish,
Yeah.
And he's reached out to me a couple times. He's like, dude, I needed that day fishing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit, it's warming up now.
Yeah.
Let's go again.
We go.
So life started working out better for him, and he's doing better, busy working.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we're going to fish soon.
Yeah.
But he messaged me last week, and he was like, man, that day changed my life, man.
Yeah.
It just changed the outlook on everything,
Yeah.
man. Thanks. I was like, well, glad I could.
Good
Glad I could help,
environment, good people, you know what I mean? And just getting down with nature, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's,
I haven't found very many people, if any at all, that I can't put my differences aside on the water and a tree stand or in the timber.
Yeah.
I mean,
got that common ground.
that and I think it's so surreal and so important to us that we don't want to ruin it either.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think it's easier to find common ground and respect
Yeah.
each other, or to feel vulnerable out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's a lot easier to have a talk on the deck of a boat than it is driving down the highway on a truck for some reason.
Facts.
I don't know why.
Maybe it's just the peacefulness, the calmness, the just with nature. And I don't know. I just met you, so I
Right.
don't know you, but in those places, I just feel like God's all around you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I
Just
agree.
surrounding you, and I'm gonna tell this story real quick because I've talked about it a few times. I always say another time, but I'm gonna say this. So it was not this past year, but the year prior. I'm out hunting. I was in my tree. Backstory: I'd watched this video. I don't know if it was a TikTok video or whatever, but this guy's talking, and he's like, he said, I was up in the tree, and I do a lot of praying when I'm up in the tree, which I do too. And he goes, I looked up and there was an eagle flying way above me. I could just barely see it, but I could tell it was an eagle. And he says, I said, God, I know I ain't supposed to ask this, but if you actually hear me, give me a close encounter with that eagle, if you would.
Yeah.
And he turns, and there's an eagle on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he goes, you can't get no more close encounter than this. Now, God's a miracle worker. He can make anything happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The guy asked for it. You know, I don't know about it. I wasn't there. But
Right.
I do know this particular day, I sat in a tree and I was praying, and that video came up to my head, and I said, you know what, God? I said, I know I ain't supposed to ask this, you know, like for you to prove,
Right.
you know, who you are or whatever, you know. But man, out of all these people in the world, if you can hear me, man, I said, give me a sign, give me a
Right.
close encounter with an eagle, like old boy in that video. I said, you know what? I like owls.
I don't.
You don't like owls?
Oh, that's a story for a minute. I'll let you
Ooh,
finish your story.
All right. I love owls.
I used to love them. Not no more.
So I said, give me a close encounter with an owl. That was at 2:30 in the afternoon. I was doing an all-day sit. I was just sitting there and never thought about it again. About 5:30, starting to get dark, and there's a spot where I know these deer come out of, and I'm just watching that spot hard to see if anything's moving.
Right.
And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden, woof, and it's 20 yards to that spot. This big silver thing comes flying out of the bushes. I mean, it startled me. I was like,
Right.
what the heck is that? 10 yards from me lands this huge owl, and he's just staring at me. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a killer. And like I said, I love it. I was like, that's killer, man. And I got my phone. I started taking pictures, and all of a sudden I went, dude, you asked for this.
You're right.
Wow, is this
A
happening?
little surreal there.
Yeah, he sat there for 2 minutes, looked at me the whole time, and then he flew off. And I got plenty of videos and pictures of him that I was taking, but I was just like, that really happened. I looked up and I said, thank you, God. I said, you didn't have to do that,
Right.
but you did it. And so now, anytime I start questioning some things or whatever,
You think
I
about
always
that
think
owl,
about
yeah.
that owl, man.
Well, yeah, better you than me. I don't like them things.
So what happened?
Man,
We're going way over my limit, but I don't even care. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
we-
I got to hear this story.
well, sitting in a tree stand, my favorite tree stand, prior to, the skyscraper stand paying off like this, like I have one hidden honey hole. It's 10 acres in the very, very back corner. And it's a southeast corner. So you need that west wind or that east wind,
Yeah, east wind.
And got in there early. Knew the neighbors was hunting. So figured if I push them out, they're going to push them back. Get in there all early. And about 20 minutes before daylight cracked, something grabbed a hold of me, took my hat, it took my ear pod. It scratched me up, down the side of the face and right here above the eye. And I couldn't figure out, like, I never heard anything. It was like somebody was in the tree next to me and took a stick and just smacked the devil out of me. Smacked tarnation out of me.
Yeah.
Like when you was a kid walking through the timber behind your dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you didn't duck, you got it. That's what it felt like. So I sat there and I'm trying to figure out.
That's
So I
hilarious.
turned my phone on to look for my hat and turn around. Damn barn owl. Yeah.
He
attacked me.
had it?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah, he
goodness.
attacked me.
No kidding.
Yeah, he was sitting in a tree. I got a picture of it. I'll show you a picture when we get off this.
Send me that
He's
picture. I
He's
want to
from
see
here
it.
here to that wall from me, sitting in a tree looking at me like I was crazy.
No kidding.
Yeah, I've hated owls ever since.
I
I've hated
I
them
might
ever
would
since.
too, you know what I'm saying?
And of course,
Hey,
I text my brother and I'm like, you ain't gonna believe dude, what happened. I send him a picture of my face and I'm like, you ain't gonna believe it. He's like, dude, I've had that happen. You move too much. And I was like, I don't even remember moving. But
no
I
kidding.
never heard that ninja coming. Never heard him coming.
Dude, I always think about that. Yeah, I'll be sitting there, especially before the sun comes up or whatever. I'm like, what if this sucker sees my eyes or something? And doesn't realize what I am and decides he wants to come in.
No,
you know
I'll tell
what I'm
you right
saying?
now, I sit a lot more still when it's dark now than I did before because he nailed me. I'm lucky I didn't lose
dude.
an eye.
No kidding.
If I
Yeah,
wouldn't have had
that could have went real
if
bad.
I wouldn't have had to build hat on,
He got a gut.
he might
That's
have
probably
got
what he
me,
was going for was your eyes.
yeah, I don't know what he was going for, but he caught me right here, took my stocking cap that was over my ball cap, and took it with him. It was sitting in a tree with him.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I don't like owls anymore.
Yeah,
I
I
used
don't-
to really like them. I thought they were like the most soulful animal out there. You look in their eyes, it's like looking into a person. And now I just soon see every one of them fly into a dump truck. You know, I don't like them.
Hey, yeah. Well, to each their own, until I get attacked, I love them, man.
But
So,
I like the eagles though.
Yeah.
I feed them beaver. When we ice up at home and I'm beaver trapping, I keep all my beavers and feed it to them.
nice.
If me and a brother are down at Smithville and we catch a trash fish, we'll throw it on the bank for them, and watch them eat it. So I
You do
really
a lot
enjoy
of fishing at Smithville?
Oh yeah,
Because I know your brother said he does.
yeah. I'm on. Generally speaking, from May to September, I'm on the water 5 days a week.
Nice.
At least.
Yeah.
And some days it's morning and evening trips.
Yeah.
So. Working 2 jobs, so now I'm hoping to quit one job and just guide, fish. And then September hits, deer season gets there, and things get real complicated because
Yeah.
you got to still run your trips, but at the same time, those good weather days and the right wind, you want to be in the tree stand,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've always been a big crappie fisher, and but I'd say the last couple years I don't know why I've just kind of gotten a little further away from it, and I've decided this year I want to get back into it. So I love crappie. I love crappie fishing. I love fishing. Period.
I
love-
enjoy crappie fishing quite a bit, but for me, if I'm going out to fish for myself, I'd rather catch the wipers or the walleye.
Yeah. Them
Pound
walleyes
for pound, the wiper fight's better than most of them out there, Now, if I'm at home and I don't have time to go to the lake, I'll go out on the Missouri River and I'll try to find the big blues or the big flatheads.
I think Lacine, we used to go there and catch them big wipers.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, fortunately, Missouri Department of Conservation and Kansas Wildlife and Parks both have come to the conclusion that since the hybrid bass doesn't repopulate on its own, they're sterile. That's their answer.
Yeah.
If a lake has too many shad, they've been shoving those in it, because it's a limited window. They can't reproduce. They only live so long. They get big enough, people catch them out of there,
Yep.
and it kind of recycles the issue. So a lot of our smaller lakes around here are actually dynamite wiper fisheries right now. They may
Yeah.
not be giants, but I mean, you're 20 to 25-inch wipers, and those are fun to catch.
Fun
I
to
mean,
catch.
and they make a hell of a good fish taco.
Yeah.
That's about the only
There you
way they're
go.
good for
Yeah.
eating, I think, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But they make a mighty fine fish taco. So
Yeah.
if I'm fishing for fun, there's a good chance I'm probably going to slide off somewhere that's got wipers.
Dude, I got a buddy, Chris Moffett, great friend of mine. He is a fishing son of a gun. As deep as I am about hunting is the way he is about fishing.
Right on.
And all winter long, he's out there fishing. And people will be like, man, what are you doing? You're out there fishing. It's 20 degrees. Are you crazy? And I mean, he's catching hammers. And he's got his spots. He knows his rivers and stuff.
Right.
And he knows what time of year is the best time to be catching them. And he'll tell you, I've been out fishing a couple times, like last year, be out catfishing, and he'd be like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I'm out fishing. What are you doing? You ain't out fishing? He's like, nah. He goes, and if I ain't out fishing, they ain't biting.
They're always biting somewhere.
And I was like, you must be right, because I ain't catching nothing. But he's a fishing son of a gun. And he'll always be like, tell him, Troy, just like you like being out in a tree stand when it's winter time, because that's your best chance to kill that buck. That's the same way with me and catfish, So,
Them big blues like to eat during the wintertime.
yeah, they do.
But we've been really good with the crappie lately.
Yeah.
I mean, January was dang good to us.
Was it?
The first part of February before the ice came was good. And now that the ice is off, it's been ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, ridiculous.
And this warm weather's got to be, they got to be going, what the hell's going on?
The water's warming quick. I think it's going to stagnate out this week, which may kind of
I think
make
it's
things
supposed
a
to
little
cool
different.
off the next few days.
Yeah, the lows are supposed to go back into the teens, so I think that might push them out. Push them out a little bit, but I don't think it's going to affect things as near as bad as a lot of folks are.
Yeah.
But I know yesterday I fished, and I took a 2-minute and 47-second long video with my phone and caught 9 fish in that 2 minutes 47 seconds.
Nice. Yeah.
The one I posted to my page is 1 minute and 38 seconds long, and there's 3 or 4 fish caught in that one. I mean, it was more than 1 fish a minute.
Yeah.
So it's about as good as it gets right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we'll peel out. Second week of March, we're going to peel out and go down to Lake of the Ozarks and
spoonbilling.
Truman for spoonbill
Yeah, buddy.
and get that done.
That's what I'm talking about too. Yeah. I love some spoonbill.
I'll bring you some if you want some.
Oh, yeah. I'll take it. My buddy Chris, he goes. I've been once. I've never caught a spoonbill.
No kidding.
I've been once with him. Him and my buddy Chad. Now we hooked onto one, and I grabbed it, but I didn't. I
Right.
wasn't the one that actually caught it. But I was like, that's some fun right there, man.
Yeah, I mean if you never caught one, they're fun.
Yeah.
But my problem is that the vast majority of people, they're not wanting to eat that fish. They just want to catch it.
Yeah.
They want to catch that big fish. And our resources are depleting pretty quick.
Yeah.
Missouri Department of Conservation's gonna have to do something. Oklahoma, they've got different regulations than we do. They've also got a healthier, more sustainable spoonbill population than we do. So we're hoping that the next couple of years of samples, they're like, oh, hey, yeah,
We got to make some changes.
these guys that are on the water every day are right, and what we're thinking is not accurate. So if we could, go to catch and release like Oklahoma is, I think we could be, probably the best place in the world. We've got the world record right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there's room to fix that, but until conservation steps in and does something, then it's gonna dwindle down to where things get real tough.
Yeah. Well, I enjoy eating it. So
I'll hook
as
you
long
up.
as long as it's available to me, I'm gonna eat it.
I'll
So,
hook you up.
yeah.
I'll give you one.
Sounds great.
No problem with that. But like I said, a lot of people don't want to eat them,
Yeah.
So if I've got someplace for them to go, then a lot of people are like, I'll leave you half that dang thing if you
Yeah.
got somebody that'll eat it, you
Yeah.
know. So if you'll eat it, I'll bring you some.
Yeah, I'll eat it.
We
They taught me, like I said, my buddy Chris and Chad, they said you cut that red meat off.
oh,
of
you
it.
have to take the red meat out.
And
You got to bleed
fry
them
up
out.
that white meat, and it's good.
It's
I
not
like
bad
it.
smoked.
Yeah.
I've had it smoked to where it was pretty good. There's
I've
a
never had
dip.
it
You can
smoked.
smoke it and make a dip out of it. My buddy's got a recipe for it. It's pretty good. It's
Yeah.
not bad. But it's one of those things, you eat enough of it and you're like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I've tried caviar, not my cup of
I'm
tea.
I'm not big on caviar.
I'm
I don't know
telling
how
you.
people do it. I'm gonna be honest.
I've tried it from 3 different people.
I'm not
so
rich and fancy, and I ain't eating caviar.
I don't care how rich and fancy a fella could be. That don't set the bar for that, my man. That stuff's pretty. It's
Yeah.
pretty terrible.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work to make,
Yeah.
So,
Well, Nate, man, I could just sit here and talk to you all night. You know what I'm saying?
you can always have me back.
Yeah, I know you got plenty of stories. I'm definitely hoping you'll be willing to come back.
Oh,
'cause
absolutely.
We got some more stuff to talk about, dude.
Heck yeah. Well,
It's been an honor to meet you, man. A
I
pleasure
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, dude.
For those wondering, anybody that don't know, I want to throw it out there real quick because I kind of got away from us.
Yeah.
I had this thing scored twice. I had it scored by Buckmasters, and I had it scored by Boone and Crockett. Buckmasters is 203 3/8, and the Boone and Crockett final score is 187 3/8.
Wow.
Buckmasters scored it as a 21 point, and Boone and Crockett scored it as a 22. So
Got you.
this point here was the one.
The one in question?
Yep, that's the one in
Yeah.
question. So that's the way it was scored. A lot of people had asked,
Golly,
Of course, I
dude.
posted on Facebook, and a lot of guys like, "That's only 150. That's only 160." And it was like, I don't think
Dude, it's
I don't think you've
freaking-
ever seen 6-inch bases before, buddy.
No, that's a monster.
The guy that measured at the Boone and Crockett score, he said it was the heaviest whitetail rack he's ever picked up.
No
That's what he
kidding.
told me. Yeah, he's like, if I picked up one heavier, I don't remember it.
Dude, it's a monster.
Wait till you pick it up, man.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah. What are you going to do? How are you going to beat it?
Oh, there's always another one, man.
Yeah.
I got some pictures on my phone. I'll show you when we're done with this.
I want to get in your friend circle.
I don't have a big typical,
Yeah.
and I've got one on the menu for this year that might
Ooh,
might do
nice,
it.
man.
So I know
Heck yeah.
got a couple prospects for next year anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well, Nate, been great talking to you, man.
been fun,
Definitely
man.
get you back on here,
For
man.
sure.
Appreciate it. Everybody watching, hoping we was just entertaining and maybe learn some tips and tricks on here. Good information, you know what I mean?
Good
Again,
time.
that men's mental health stuff, man. You know
Oh,
what?
that's
If
huge, man.
If you don't have nobody to talk to, I know you can reach out to me. I'm sure you can reach out to him.
I'm always willing to talk hunting and fishing, man.
Yeah,
always.
if you just need to talk, reach out, dude. You know, I hate the thought of anybody dealing with stuff alone. You know what I mean? When you don't have to, especially when it comes to that. But so thanks again for watching, man. Thank you again, Nate.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
As always, blend better and hunt harder.
I've spent my whole life chasing whitetail, breath in the cold hard on a rail. This hammer didn't slip, this arrow flew, cut through the timber like it always knew. Smoked him clean, watched him sway, thunder in my chest that day. Thick neck, heavy beams in the light, kickers and spurs off every time. Yeah, this time. Every season brings us back for more. It's blood trails and bucktails, round the fire where the whiskey sails. Every hunt's a story, every shot's a chance. What's your story to tell?